Okay, so we're just about out of time, but I did want to cover one last thing, and that is the issue of what we talked about a few minutes ago when we were speaking about the need for business community activism and being financially engaged, being aware of issues, being communicative with legislators. So, Speaker and Senate President, thoughts on business community engagement and the importance of it from your perspective. What do you pay attention to, and how best, in your view, does the average citizen get your attention outside of the lobbying groups?
The average person gets any legislator's attention by engaging them. Form letters don't work that well. That's not really a meaningful dialogue. Someone asks you to borrow your name and you send it off. So, and we know that. But if you engage the legislator and you give them your unique thoughts and ideas, that tells me or my colleagues that something is important to you. You took the time to reach out, and that's a hard thing to do sometimes because we're so busy. So do I think the business community should be more involved? Yes, I've been saying that for 12 years. It's all about balance. Society is all about balance. We have a lot of different views, and in my 12 years at the General Assembly, I hear from a lot of different perspectives. And the business community is not always there in numbers. Yes, Elizabeth Sivir is down there always testifying on your behalf, and yes, Lori White's always down there on your behalf, but, Paul Desroches, he's always down there on your behalf, but in order to have an appropriate balance, we need numbers of people to come down there. We need to know what your thought process is. And I don't think the business community should control the dialogue, but it should be part of the dialogue. And, we get pieces of legislation oftentimes that would suggest new rules for how you run your businesses. And nobody comes in to say if, in fact, it would pose a hardship to you or how it would pose a hardship to you. And there's always strength in numbers. So I have been a believer for 12 years. The belief is stronger now than ever that the business community really has to come out. You have to let us know what's important to you. You have to let all of us, myself, all of my colleagues, both in the House and the Senate, you have to let us know what's important to you and how we can assist you and how we could avoid the things that would pose burdens and impose burdens upon you. So that dialogue is critically important, and I know you're busy. You're making your payroll, you're serving your customers, you're taking care of your families. We're all so busy that I know it's a burden. But if you're not there, then something's missing. The right balance is not being addressed and presenting itself at the General Assembly. So it's of critical importance.
The financial aspect of folks are sitting there saying, well, why should I give? Someone else will do it. And there are plenty of people that, can be up there and they don't need my support.
I was at a MECA recently, and I spoke to some business leaders in the Blackstone Valley, and I concluded by saying this. So the people from MECA will probably have heard this before, but if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I mean that sincerely. You need to be engaged because there's another side of the equation that's very active and very involved. And you need to participate, whatever that issue is. The Hospitality Association, I don't know, I did not see Dale Venturini, I don't know if she's here today, but you have a bill that affects restaurants, they come up in force and in mass, and they're very active, they're very engaged, and they're very much part of the discussion. The business community needs to do the same thing. And that's everybody. That's a generic statement. However you want to get involved through your PAC or through your lobbyist or individual contact, phone calls, emails. I talked to a bunch of realtors the other day, and I said to them, you have all these offices all over the state. Do you know in each community who the state representative is? No one answered. Do you know who your local state senator is? They should know who you are. They should hear from you. And it's not always I want or I need or this affects me. Even a thank you. I'm so-and-so, I have a small business in your district, I employ 10 people, we appreciate you doing, these are the issues we're concerned about in the future. Engage. You need to be engaged. If you're not engaged, you're not part of the dialogue.
And you're on the menu.
That's right.
Okay. So I will leave it at that unless anybody wants to contribute a better pithy statement. But we thank all of you for being with us today, and we appreciate your service. We appreciate your leadership. We appreciate your ability to sit through a lot of these topics. And we're all in this together. So thank you all for being with us and for sharing this dialogue. And we'll see you next year. And welcome once again,
Thank you.
Leader McCaffrey.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.